I don't know what it was about June 5th, 1987. 2 games released in pink cartridges, and 2 games that are just mean to their players. Takahashi Meijin no Bugtte no Honey was a cartoon based on the video game persona of real-life video game player Takahashi Toshiyuki. It was one of those children's shows that nobody really cares about. The concept, basically, was Takahashi going around and having adventures with a bee-like fairy named Honey. It's really the kind of thing that nobody would care about except for its ties to video games. As the game begins, Takahashi Meijin has been kidnapped, and you start out by controlling Honey to rescue him. She can fly freely when you press up, but this is also the only stage where you play as her. The other 7 stages, you're playing as Takahashi Meijin right out of Adventure Island. The goal on each stage is to collect a password. It's always an 8-character long word written in the Latin alphabet. It has something to do with either the cartoon or Hudson games. The way you collect each letter for the password is awful. Step 1, you have to locate an egg. Eggs are invisible. They're also randomly placed. So what you wind up having to do is run around attacking constantly until you hit something, and then shoot it until the egg appears. There are 10 eggs per stage. The flashing one just shows you the status of the password, and one of them is a trap which you have no way of knowing until you pick it up. When you get the egg, you go into this Arkanoid style minigame. I call it a minigame, but really it's more than half the actual game. Each egg has its own unique pattern, and there are 4 letters hidden in each pattern. You have a certain number of lives based on how high your health was in the side-scrolling segment when you picked up the egg. Missing the ball or collecting the wrong letter is fatal. Lose all your lives in the breakout segment, and you lose 1 proper life. So the question becomes, how do you know which letter you need to collect? And the answer is, you don't. Hope you're keeping notes as you figure out what words you need to spell. Or I guess you could look at a strategy guide. You complete this segment by clearing out all of the breakable tiles in the top half of the play area. The bottom area doesn't matter at all unless it has the letter you need. Once the top area is cleared out, the door at the top opens and you have to shoot the ball up and through that. What if you miss collecting that letter? Well, you still need to clear out the minigame. Then you walk off the screen a little bit and come back. That makes the egg reappear, and you get to do the whole thing all over again. There are a handful of power-ups you can collect. The lightning bolt lets you shoot and destroy an entire row of blocks. I don't recommend firing it until after you've collected the letter, since the blocks you destroy with the lightning bolt don't drop anything. The lightning power recharges after a few seconds, so you can use it multiple times. You can also get this wave beam that bounces the ball back, or you can extend the paddle. Like I said, these breakout segments are what actually make up the bulk of the game, and they are pretty bad. The controls are a major part of that. There's no analog control for it, so you have to use the D-pad, and the paddle moves at a variable speed. On top of that, the paddle physics are a problem. Rather than responding to how quickly you're moving, or with fine precision on where it strikes the paddle, the ball basically has 5 angles it can rebound at, and it's really easy for it to get stuck. Sometimes it'll get stuck between blocks. And since the goal of each block stage is just to get 1 letter, you wind up repeating the same thing with little variation. There's one more egg I haven't mentioned. That final egg is hell. And by that I mean you go to a block stage, where the blocks in the upper area are all indestructible and spell out hell. The only thing you can do there is bounce around until you get a lucky shot that makes it through the letters. So playing the block portion of the game is miserable, but what about outside that in the platforming? Well, it's not much better. For a lot of the enemies, they take many hits to defeat, and they have a bad tendency to throw out large attacks that fill up the area. You can go in the doors you find on stages, and they always have an egg inside them somewhere. They can also have mini-bosses. On the side-scrolling stages, you can smash some of the background objects, and that might reveal a pickup. The only ones worth noting are the Hudson Bee, which is an extra life, and the hearts, which restore your health. The randomness of how the eggs are placed in the side-scrolling stages causes some real problems. Successfully completing some of the block stages makes you invincible. Which ones do this are random, of course. But going in a door ends that invincibility immediately. So if there's an egg right outside a door, and that's one that gives you invincibility, then it's a complete waste, because you're going to have to go right in the door. Most of the enemies drain your health, but stepping on the fires kills you instantly. Now tell me, where would be the absolute worst place for an egg? And keep in mind that their position is random. If you said directly over a fire, congratulations. Give yourself a cookie and an automatic game over because you're not going to be able to get that egg. Fortunately, they do have the Hudson continue code in this game. Just hold a direction and press start. In the past, I've defended Takahashi Meijin no Bugtte Honey. I think I was attracted by the mix of styles. But this is an all-around bad design. A quirky mashup isn't enough to overcome the inherent flaws in every step of the game. This is a game that makes me question what Hudson was even thinking when they released it.